Hey Marcel,
Yeah.
good afternoon. I'm so happy to be with you. We are meeting here in Amsterdam, in a quite amazing place because we are in the Amsterdam Museum.
The most historical place of Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You're a futurist.
Yeah.
Can you tell me just a little bit about your story, who you are, and what is it for you to be a futurist?
Yeah. Well, it's fun to be a futurist because you're thinking about the future. One thing about the future is it's still open. Right now, basically, the world is a mess. I can't say it otherwise. And still we have to discover the small seeds of hope that might grow into bigger seeds of hope, might grow into newer, more sustainable business models, which will shape the future in a way that it didn't shape the world we live in now. So there is hope for a better world, in short. And I try to discover and to pinpoint different seeds of the future.
And what are these seeds of hope for you?
Well, the seeds of hope are that technology is going to empower us, individual citizens and individual professionals, with lots and lots and lots of tools to have more control over our own world, the way we generate energy, the way we work, the way we build our houses. One of the fun things about the future is that everything is going to be very cheap. I'm not talking about inflation or deflation, but things are getting smaller. They are getting a higher quality of the way they are made, and they're going to be cheaper. From energy sources to lots of to robots to you name it, and it will be cheaper and faster, which means that lots of tools that before only governments, big multinationals could afford to have, like data mining tools or handling expensive energy sources, well, they now come into our reach of individual people. And I think this do-it-yourself future is one of the most promising things about the future.
So a big seed of hope is all the do-it-yourself thing because it's going to be cheap.
Yeah, true.
And do you see, that's the seed of hope, is there any seed of danger in this future?
Oh, come on. There are so many seeds of danger. It's impossible to name them all. So what I try to do in my presentations, I try to stay away from the seeds of danger and try to focus on the seeds of hope. Because people in the audience, they can name the seeds of danger themselves. They're probably right in it. What I do try to do is tell them where business models are going wrong and the way we do business. How can we have a sustainable way of doing business with respect to human rights and the planet? And it sounds totally duh, if I put it like that. But much of our current world is not sustainable, is not ethical. So I think we should strive towards ethical means of doing business. And it's another seed of hope.
So what you're saying, it's not only about technology.
No.
What we are going to do with
technology is only the starting point, because it's technology, the robots and all the stuff. We will have a robot economy, an algorithm economy. We are going to have a very cheap do-it-yourself robot and algorithm artificial intelligence economy. Imagine what it is like to live in that future, and to imagine the tools you will have to lead your own life with less of a government than we have now. And technology is only the starting point, but it's really interesting. How does it affect human relationship? Will it affect how many times you go to the dentist or to your medical practitioner? Maybe you don't see him ever anymore. So that's the kind of questions I like to raise in my 10 questions about the future.
So I try to imagine, as you said, but how do you imagine this future with a robot economy?
Well, I started in 20 or 25 years ago, writing a book about democracy and technology, and then there was no internet, and then there were like 20 websites, 20 Dutch websites, all in 1 year, and I had 2 of them. So
you had like 10%
yeah,
of the whole internet in
economy.
Netherlands.
Yeah, wonderful. So I then started talking, giving speeches about the internet and how it would grow and how it would create an immensely huge and wonderful world. And it turned out to be true. Well, not only wonderful, unfortunately, but there was truth in it, and also predicted the mobile phone, how it would go to, what it would do, what functions it would have. So now we have the robots, and I think about what will robots, how will they change government, and how will they change our personal life. And it will be huge, because they will, on the one hand, they will steal our jobs, like numerous researches about how many percentage of jobs they will make disappear, from 47% to 97%, depending on your profession and depending on the country where you live in. And on the other hand, we will also have many more jobs of the future, and those are the jobs that the robots leave for us.
And what are these jobs? What are the jobs of the future?
Or anything that a robot can't do, or cannot really do as good as humans can do. And it's not about higher education, lower education, because, for example, the anesthetist, is that the right name? Someone who puts a mask on you to make you unconscious.
Oh, yeah.
Anesthetist, yeah, I think it's going to be replaced in total by a robot, which will do the same thing much cheaper. It's part of the cheaper economy. And it happens that this person is one of the highest paid professionals in the medical sector.
So
and he will vanish.
But
he's going to be replaced by a robot.
Another way to say it, what would be your advice to a 20 years old person today?
Yeah, well, start studying artificial intelligence and create the robots, personal relationships, motivational stuff, leadership, innovation itself, but basically everything that is routine, administrative, controlling will disappear. All these jobs will be taken over by robots. So, but I think lots of new jobs will be created in the really truly human sphere. What I told you about, the leadership thing, the innovation itself, and there will be lots of work in that branch. And by the way, I don't think a general universal basic income will be part of that future.
Why?
It's we can't afford it. It costs too much. It costs too much money. It's totally impossible. It will increase your taxes with, I don't know, 10%, 15, 50,
Very interesting
100.
because many people working on the robots say that's one of the solutions.
I'm probably
so
the
you're
only
saying
one
no.
who's against it.
So
but there is a fun thing about it, because 20 years ago I edited a newsletter about the basic income. I was thinking, wow, that would really...
So you believed in it 20 years ago?
Oh, absolutely.
But not
I
today.
was thinking, it's amazing, it's paradise. Oh, I would want to have a basic on myself. So it's still paradise-like, but I didn't think at that time who's going to pay for it. Well, your neighbor is going to pay for it. But once your neighbor is going to pay for me, then maybe sometime your neighbor thinks, well, I don't like the idea either. I want basic income myself. It's a never-ending loop which will increase taxes by incredible amounts and which will increase the power of government by immense factors, and I don't think it's a good thing. Apart from the fact that it will probably disrupt every system or network or web, social web that we have created around working.
So That was the question for the 20 years old, but then what is for the 40 years old or the 50 years old who will be replaced by the robot and won't get, according to you, a basic income? What should they do?
Yeah, well, the same as the 20-year-old. Yes, of course, there's no difference there. You have to anticipate the fact that your job is going to disappear. You must understand that it is a very, very real possibility in the next 5 till 10 years.
5 to 10 years. So we are talking about the very near future.
Yeah. For example, I was talking to mortgage advisors, and I told them, well, your job is going to be totally obsolete within 5 years because no one is going to pay 100 euros to a mortgage advisor who basically only collects some already existing data. Ha ha ha.
Very
in the
interesting.
eyes of our children, we live in a museum, and lots of professions as such are museum-like professions. And we really should recognize that fact and act accordingly. But most people don't act accordingly, so that's a problem.
So to be prepared for the future, if you have to tell a friend 3 things he or she should do tomorrow, really start tomorrow, start now.
Think about the robots who will steal away your job, and be proud and happy of it, because it will also allow you, these robots, if you hire the robot or buy the robots, then your labor productivity will increase. The robot is not your enemy. He's your companion. Or probably it will be a bunch of robots, but okay. Second thing is be curious about everything around you. And 3, try to take advantage of the do-it-yourself economy.
Wow, very interesting. One last question. How do you want people who are watching this interview to reach you? Do you have a website, Twitter, LinkedIn? How do you want them to learn more about you, or if they want to contact you for any reason?
Oh, yeah. Future Check.
Future Check. Okay, I will put that. I will put that on the
whatever.
post.
And that website was the same website that I had 25 years ago.
Oh, so it's part of history.
It's part of history, but websites, they really suck. I'm sorry to say. I would love some other tool that would make it much more easier for me to get in touch with people. But for the moment, it's a website.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcel. Thank you very much.
Okay, Bruno.